two, three. This time of day, everything's okay. I take a long look around, I have to say, this time of year, it becomes clear.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it may be for you as you're watching Your Friends and Neighbors with me, your host, Willie Jones. We are on episode 6 today, and I am just thrilled at the person I have sitting to my right. This woman probably doesn't realize, but I am a big admirer of hers. I know she's just a treasure trove of information about Bennington and its history, and I just think it's really great to have her here with me today. And my guest is Ann Bugbee. Good morning, Ann. How are you?
I'm fine, Willie. Good morning to you.
That's good. I think one thing I think we need to do is just have a moment of silence, because Ann and I used to go to All Days and Onions, and I miss that place terribly.
Oh, I do
I don't know
too.
about you, but I know you were on the list for the fried oysters.
Absolutely.
They would give you a ring to say, Ann, we got fried oysters tonight, and you'd be there. And I wasn't a fried oysters person, but I just remember that little fact that you loved your fried oysters.
I do, and I haven't really found any like them since.
Well, Ann is here today mainly to talk about the Bennington Monument and different things that are going to be happening there this year. But I would just like to take a little time here to find out a little bit more about Ann herself. Could you tell me a little bit about your childhood, your education, where you grew up, and different things like that?
Well, I grew up outside of Boston, or I was born north of Boston.
Oh.
A little town called Linfield, which is now a suburb of Boston. My brother still lives there. But when I had just turned 2, my father packed up the whole family, 5 kids, and my mother, and we went to England.
England, oh.
And so I really grew up in England from the age of just 2 to 10 during wartime Britain.
Oh.
And so that's where I've got this sort of funny Boston accent.
Well, I don't know if it's funny. England from, oh, wow. Now,
Yeah.
where did you live in England?
We lived in the Midlands in Staffordshire,
Okay.
a little town called Milford. And I was the youngest by 10 years. So the idea was my brothers and sister could go to school there, which they did. But when the war broke out, we had no way of coming home because we were aliens. We were not British citizens.
Right.
So we were at the bottom of the list. So we finally sailed, well, VJ Day, from Scotland, of all things. My father was able to get us passage, and it was at that point just my sister, my brother Donald, myself, and my mother. My brother Robert was in the U.S. Marines, and my brother Jack, who had flown for the RAF and then transferred to the American Air Force, was lost in the Pacific. But Dad was able, at the last minute, to get us a passage on the King of Denmark's private yacht,
Oh, well,
which they were
fancy
taking out.
schmancy.
They were taking out of mothballs
Ah.
because they'd had it all set to sabotage if the
Right.
Germans took it.
Yeah.
So it took something like 2.5 weeks across the Atlantic.
And were you a good sailor?
No,
No.
No.
Sorry.
I wasn't. And I fell. I managed to fall from the first deck down some stairs and what have you, and broke both arms. And of course, all the crew were Danish. The doctor was Danish,
Right.
and they couldn't speak
no
English.
Right.
But they were able to set my arms just by feeling. And then when we got to New York, I was taken off and taken to Ellis Island to be checked out by American doctors, and then brought back to the ship.
Wow.
But
Do you ever get to go back to England?
I have been back.
Have you? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been back just a couple of times. But my father's business was the shoe business, and it was international. So everybody else in the family went back and forth quite a bit, because they were so much older
Right.
when they were in college. But
So,
we have no
so early education began in England.
began in England at a very early age. Because of the war, I was sent away to boarding school when I was just 6.
Is that something you were willing to do, or you were, I
Well-
mean, I would find that a very scary situation to be all of a sudden have to leave my family and,
Well, I can't remember really being afraid about
Uh-huh.
it. And remember, that was also the children from London were being evacuated
oh, right.
into the country.
Oh, okay.
So this was sort of a similar thing. It was a private house. I could go on and on about these stories,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it doesn't have anything to do with the Battle Monument.
Well, that's all
wh-
right. I want to find out about you for a while, so.
But when I came back, I knew nothing about America. I was, as they call me, the limey of the family. I didn't know about the American Revolution.
Right.
And so they set about educating me and taking me to the historic sites. And that's where I got interested in American history, because I didn't know who Washington was or Paul Revere.
All right. Well, you certainly know a lot now.
Well, I can't live any place without knowing who lived there. But, you know, Dad would drag me, and good for him that he was willing to do that.
Right.
To these various places.
And your education here in the States?
Yeah, I went through, and then I came to Bennington College.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I graduated from
So
Bennington.
that's when you got to know Bennington even
That's
more,
right.
because you like to do a little research.
And I did. I spent a lot of time in the museum library and learned about the Battle of Bennington and read all Jennings' books and that sort of thing. So it was a natural for me when I came back to live here permanently
Right.
to just sort of pick it up and begin to work with the museum.
Right. Now, you have for many years been involved in, could you just name off some of the organizations that you have been involved with? I mean, the Bennington Monument and the gift shop and stuff, but there are many other organizations that
Wow.
you have been a big part of.
Well, I was on the board of Cat TV.
Yes, you were.
I was on the board for Oldcastle.
Yes, that's right.
I, of course, worked at the museum as a classroom teacher and a docent.
Yes, and you would go to the schools as
Right.
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman was...
Now, what did the kids say to you when you were this white woman comes in and she's playing the part of Harriet Tubman? Did they give you any grief about that?
No, not really. They just sat mesmerized.
Yeah.
Kids like stories.
Oh, they sure do.
And but I can tell stories, so
Yeah.
they were mesmerized. But one class, after one class, the kid raised their hand and I said, yes, I'm waiting for a question about Harriet. And they said, when did you turn white?
Sorry, Ryan, if that's something.
I thought,
Oh, that's funny.
but you know what brought that about was Michael Jackson,
Oh, of course.
because he was becoming lighter
Because he was
and lighter.
getting lighter and lighter all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's funny.
And then I had a third grade class, and I'm finishing with Harriet, and I said, well, I died in 1913. The little kid, you're dead?
Yeah, jeez. You did that for quite a few years. Are you
did a
still
long
doing it?
time.
No.
No.
But you did that for a
No,
long
the museum
time.
dropped it, so I don't do it.
Oh, that's too bad that they dropped it.
I've done for a lot of, I've done it for the DAR, I've done it for historical societies, in the schools, in the high school.
And was it just Harriet?
Just Harriet?
just
Harriet. Yeah, I did other things, other industries and that sort of thing, but Harriet was popular. I mean, yeah.
Right.
Black History Month.
I just apologize to the audience, our listening and watching audience today. I seem to have this runny eye. I'm so sorry. And let's see, Historical Society.
Historical Society.
How long? Now, you must have been involved with them for a long time now.
Back when I came back here in about, I guess it was 1999 or 2000. And that's when I got involved with it with Ruth Ekstrom, because it had sort of died, and the two of us sort of brought it out. And at that point, my project was interviewing veterans. And a lot of them have died from World War II.
Yeah, right.
But we have, all of the tapes and things I ended up by giving to the Folklife Museum up in Middlebury. And so they've got them all cataloged. And then the museum here has the rough drafts of a lot of the interviews.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've heard that Oldcastle is going to be doing a show called Bennington Goes to War.
Yeah, that's
And
Tony Morrow.
Tony Mara and Eric worked on this. And we had, actually, I give a little update to everyone. We were going to be doing it this month, but it's been held off now until October. But yeah, we in that show we talk about many people. Margaret Lilly, I don't Crossick, I don't all kinds of people that were here in Bennington. And I know Tony evidently listened to or looked at a lot at the archives at the museum.
Well, those are the ones that I did.
Those are the ones you did.
Yes, I gave him a lot of that, and then he turned them. And then we were interviewed by PBS, or I shouldn't say we. Some of the veterans were interviewed by PBS, so that was on tape. So Tony had that too. I gave that to him.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So it was, but we did. That was our first sort of program the Historical Society did, and we had a panel, and they talked about their experiences.
That wasn't too long ago, right?
No,
wasn't that just?
No, this was back 11 years, 12 years ago.
Oh, okay. Because you just did one recently.
Oh.
You were involved with something.
Yes,
I did
a program on the mill girls on
that's
Mary Palmer.
That's right.
Who worked in the mills in North Bennington and had written this little. I still don't know where I got this from. Because I collect things, you know, they just sort of come to me. And it was interesting, her take on the mills, the early mills, and then later by the 1900, 1909, when the owners were absentee and there wasn't that paternalistic overseeing that the owners did in the beginning, and how things had changed.
Right.
And it's very well written.
There's a lot of really good children's books about the mills in North Adams and that area in Massachusetts. I don't know if you're counting on Grace and there's another one that is so good and I can't remember the name of it.
Dear
now.
Mr. President.
Yes, yeah. Oh, that's another Elizabeth Winthrop, right?
Yeah, she's good.
Have you had a chance to meet Elizabeth?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I just love Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I love all of her books, and I like her adult books too.
I haven't read any of adult books.
Yeah. Oh, she had something Island. I thought, it was so good. Now in that waffle, I can't remember the title. I shouldn't have brought it up. And she did one about my mother's house. I think it was called. There's at least two, and I know she was working on another one. But but she has a lot of children's books. But she's a great lady, really fun to talk to.
Well, we're going to, Bill Morgan and I, who have organized these bus tours of Bennington for the last couple of years, are going to be working with, let me see if I can remember her name, Laura Jones, I can't think of McGuire. Laura McGuire Jones, who teaches 5th grade in Arlington, and she's been doing that Counting on Grace.
Such a good book.
So she asked if we would do something, so we're planning tentatively for the 22nd of May to take the 5th grade on a bus tour.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, and this show will be on long before that, so, good.
Yeah, so I hope, you know, it's beginning to fall into place.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure what we hope to go down to Powell and see the site. Right. And French Hill. And
Now, have we missed any other organizations or societies? Do you belong to the, what is it, women's?
I belong to the Vermont State Historical Society. I'm on the board there.
So do you go over to Tunbridge every year? Or,
Tunbridge.
Every year?
I go up to Barry or Montpelier. We have our meetings in Barry about every 2 months, 2 to 3 months.
What keeps you going? I mean, you seem to have so much energy. You are so involved in so much, and you still want to learn. You're still researching. You're still collecting. What is it that, I mean, this is another reason that people like you I admire so much, because you just give me the hope that why don't I get out of the rut I get myself into?
Well,
I don't know what you do to keep yourself going.
I'm afraid not to move.
You don't want to rust out.
I don't want to rust out. Right.
Out. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. It's you. I see you quite often at different things going on here in Bennington, whether it's a meeting or some affair
Yeah,
going
we
on at
do.
the museum or whatever. Now, do you still have a lot of contacts or working a lot with the museum still, or is that
No, not
no.
as much, other
Not as
than the
much.
Historical Society.
than the Historical Society? And I would imagine that you have worked with Tyler Resch quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tyler's one of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, one of my favorite people, too, speaking of Tyler Resch, is Ellen Varick.
Yeah.
And she's quite a character,
She
as
is.
I believe you probably are, too. I bet you can be quite the character when you want to be.
Ellen is one in a kind.
Oh, she sure is. She sure is. Once a week, we try to do a supper club.
Uh-huh.
And I'd never dreamed that I would get to know Ellen and Phil Varick as well as I have since my wife died. It's been a wonderful friendship we have
Oh,
developed,
that's good.
and I'm just crazy about Ellen. She's one. You're right. She is one of a kind. They broke the mold when she came about. So, all right. I don't know. Is there anything else I want to know about Ann Bugby? We got to find you a good place to get some good fried oysters.
I know.
Aren't they supposed to have good ones at the Blue Bed? Have you
I
ever
haven't tried the Blue Bed.
I don't know,
The Eagle
somebody
Bridge
said.
is the next one, Eagle
Oh,
Bridge Hotel.
okay.
But
I miss
Not
Dan
the
and
way
Julie.
Dan-
I
oh, I
miss
know
Dan
it.
and Julie, and I hope Dan is doing well. I know he wasn't well for a while.
oh, really? I didn't
Yeah,
realize that.
he wasn't well for a while, and the last I heard, he was doing great. And I haven't seen Julie. I miss Julie. Grace
Yeah.
Mary and I went to there probably once a week, at least,
Oh,
if not
yes.
more, and Sunday for
Yeah.
brunch. And we really got to know them. We loved going there at evening when they would have their musical guests and
yes.
stuff. And it was so much fun.
Yeah. that
So,
was-
anyways, all right. Oh, I guess that's enough for the chit chat for now, anyways. But the main reason you're here today, and actually the subtitle of our show today, I don't know if you know there was a movie around called The Monuments Men. So the
Yes.
subtitle for your friends and neighbors today is called The Monument Woman.
Oh,
So that will be the subtitle for this show.
okay.
So maybe we should talk about the monument first. Tell us a little bit about the monument. I know you know lots of information about it.
Well, it is a tribute, as you know, to the Battle of Bennington. And let's see, questions most asked.
Okay, that's a good way to do it.
How tall is it?
That's
306 feet, 4.5 inches to,
4.5 inches. That's
to
important.
the tip of the star, which, by the way, is made out of copper, I believe.
Oh, okay.
It was started in 1887 and dedicated in 1891 to coincide with the centennial of the state of Vermont.
I know I have a nice photo of it. I don't know what year, but it's very early. I think Mary Lou Chakotay, who is the head at
Yep,
the
she is,
monument, I think she might have given that to me at some point. Somebody did.
If it has the statue of Seth Warner in it,
I don't think so.
then it's taken in 1909.
No, I think it was before that.
Then
Yeah.
it is an early
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
It isn't finished.
It isn't finished.
No, it isn't finished.
I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's a well-kept secret. It's the lintel over the doorway.
Okay.
There was supposed to be a bas relief with Stark, Warner, and Allen.
Huh.
So they were supposed to be there. That was never done.
Has there ever been, have you ever tried to put it up or do something? Has anyone always thought,
No,
maybe we
just-
should finish it?
Just didn't
Just,
do it.
okay.
What else?
Other
Okay, how many
questions, yeah.
stairs? There are 412 steps.
I'm fine with the elevator. I'm sorry.
Actually, the steps are quite easy because the rise is only about 1.5 inches,
Yeah, I realize, yeah.
and they slope up. Well, originally there were going to be ladders.
Wow.
Now, you can imagine going up ladders. There are 34 levels of it. And all I could think of was these ladies in the
I know
1890s
it.
with their tight,
That's right.
almost hobble skirts.
Right. And would they have had the bustles at that time too? No, is that
Yeah,
a little?
it was a loose bustle.
A loose
it was
bustle,
called
okay.
sort of a waterfall.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. I can see
But
that.
the architect, Wren, was a rather portly gentleman, and he had a thing about stairs, that he could get up and down easily. And he went to Italy, in the Firenze Palace. The stairs there were very easy, the low rises and slope, and supposedly designed by Michelangelo. He convinced them to put stairs in instead of the ladders.
Gee, I could do Ring at some point. I could be Mr. Ring.
You could, very definitely.
Yeah.
What else could I tell you about? One of the things I find fascinating is when they put the capstone on the top. The top of the capstone is flat, but it's only 8.5 inches.
Wow.
And there was an elevator that went up for the workmen. So there were a group of about 30 dignitaries that went up, including Isaac Jennings, the minister. That was the last time he made a public meeting. They brought the capstone down, and everybody sort of had pictures taken. And then they raised it, put concrete to seal it, and people threw money
Yeah.
in the concrete.
Oh, okay.
And then when they had it sealed, they took turns standing on the top of the capstone, this 8.5 inch square. And they stood and had their picture taken.
Wow, 8.5. Wow, that's
306 feet up.
That's something that reminds me. Is Mary Lou still changing the light bulbs?
Yep.
When
she
I
is.
heard that, I thought, I can't. Boy, what a gutsy thing to do,
I know.
man. And she's been doing. How long has Mary Lou been in charge of the monument or in the
I
gift
think
shop?
it's about 18 years.
18 years.
Something like that.
Because she's given up her dental hygienist business.
Well, she does it once a week.
She's still doing it once a week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't believe. How many bulbs does she have to change?
She do it twice a year.
Twice a year, and how is there just how many bulbs does she have to do?
I think there may be 2
two. Okay. Wow.
at the most.
And she does have some kind of safety
She
harness
does have
and all
in
that.
that cage. She's not in the cage.
And does somebody go up with her?
Sometimes there's
she'd have
somebody
a
up with her,
buddy with her or something.
but there's usually somebody watching, and she doesn't do it on a windy day. And
Well, yeah, I know. Well, that's one of the wonderful things about going up to the top of the monument. And you can tell us about, getting up to the top and all that. But if it's a really hot day and you take yourself up to the top of the monument, there seems to be there's almost always a beautiful breeze up there. Even on the hottest day, I don't understand why. And maybe you know the reason, but
the thickness of the wall,
you think that's
and
okay.
of course it's a dolomite of sense. So, but it doesn't get above 70 degrees.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's
So
wonderful.
in the
up there.
middle of summer, I envied it, the elevator man,
Oh, yeah.
because it's nice and cool.
Right.
We always seem to open in the cold, so comes next Sunday.
Right. Oh, this next Sunday is the opening. Okay,
The
we'll talk
opening
about the
is
opening.
April 19th,
Oh, okay.
Saturday, and then Easter Sunday.
Oh, that's right, the day before Easter.
We're having a lot of hoop-de-doo.
Okay.
There will be a children's Easter egg hunt,
Oh, great.
and it starts at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Now, are we going for real eggs or do
No,
we?
no,
Yeah, okay.
we're going for
Oh, okay.
fake eggs. And it'll start at 10 and go until all the eggs are found, I guess.
And we have all those games that you usually have, sometimes at
No, we won't be
4th of
doing the
July.
games.
No,
We'll
not doing
do
games.
that
the 4th. for
during
sure.
the battle day.
During that celebration. Right.
And Flag Day, we're going to have a special program too.
Oh, oh.
Phyllis Chapman, dressed as Betsy Ross,
Oh, okay.
will come and talk about the
Okay.
histories of
Is she
the
still
Ross.
is Phyllis still involved with the museum?
No,
She
no.
does this on her own.
She does this on her
Okay.
own. Yeah, she's been doing it for a few years.
Right.
And so that's what we're doing. That'll be our opening day. But as I started to say, it's always cold, and those guys have about 5 layers of clothing on. I
Well,
can
I like
turn
to
the
be cool.
heater on, but they can't.
Oh, right. No, I like being cool, so I don't know. I'd probably like that. Maybe I should be an elevator man.
Yeah, there you go.
And when was the elevator installed? I'm assuming that you probably know this.
It was installed at the about 1958 or 9.
Oh, okay.
When the state, in the beginning of the 50s, the monument had really fallen in sort of bad repair. It has always been owned by the state of Vermont. They turned it over at the dedication to the state, and the state was active in financing it. And it does belong, we in Bennington think it's ours, but it belongs to the whole state.
Right, right.
Everybody was involved in the building. But the state appointed the Bennington Historical Society and Bennington Battle Monument Association in charge of it. It fell into pretty bad repair. Pieces of the stone were coming off and falling down, and there was talk about ripping it down. And then the Historical Society wisely turned it over to the state. And that's when the Historic Site Division took it over and took care of it. So they were the ones that put the elevator in. And for a while you had a choice. You could go up the stairs or the elevator. But the stairs were pulling out from the wall, and then they do not meet modern standards. The railings are too wide. A child could climb right through them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's no backing to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
steps,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they could go right through. So now when we open them, there has to be somebody with you, one of the staff. So we call it sort of a guided tour.
Right, right,
So
right.
that's why they're not open. That's
Right,
when the
right.
elevator went in.
So this is going to be on the opening day,
Yeah.
the night.
yeah.
Oh, but the Easter egg hunt will be on
We'll
Sunday.
be on both Saturday and
Oh,
Sunday.
both days. Oh, okay.
Yeah, for the whole weekend, starting
Oh.
at 10 o'clock, and there'll be a session in the morning and one probably in the afternoon.
Oh, both days. Oh, that's
Both
great.
days.
And then the monument is open until October usually,
October
right?
31st.
Oh, right to the end of October. That's right.
Yes,
That
yeah.
was probably after Columbus Day weekend.
Yeah, we've had some snowstorms up there and various
Yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
things.
What is the busiest time? Is it in the fall?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the leaf peepers.
right. Now, do you know the number, like how many people visited last year? Do you have any
I think it
idea?
was something like 40,000.
740.
No, something like.
Oh, something like. I thought you said 740,000.
I don't, I
Wow.
wish.
Gee, I know, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And people come from all over.
They come from all over. The best verse of our foreign visitors, I think, are the Germans.
Oh, really?
Because the Germans fought the Battle of
Yeah,
Bennington.
yeah,
They
yeah,
were
yeah.
the major Brunswickians and the Hessians.
Huh.
But, and they know about it. Most people, well, it wasn't in our history books. And then the next question we always get is, why is it the Battle of Bennington if it was fought?
Fought in.
So, like the Battle of Bunker Hill.
Right, right, right.
And the Battle of Saratoga, which was actually fought on the farm, Bemis Farms.
Mhm.
Bennington was known. Walloomsac had maybe 5 people. And even from the beginning, Burgoyne called it the Battle of Bennington. Because the King of England knew where Bennington was.
You said Walloomsac, and that reminds me, can you tell me a little bit about, I don't know much about the history of the Walloomsac Inn. I know we're getting off subject here, but that wonderful old building, which is just falling apart, and it used to be so beautiful. And what is the history of that?
Well, it was the oldest running inn in New England.
Right.
Walter Berry, there were several owners. I think there's probably been about 8 or 9 owners over the years. It was a stagecoach inn under the Hickses, who lived on Rice Lane. But Walter Berry purchased it in the 1890s, and he ran it as a summer inn. And it was basically, Old Bennington was a summer retreat for the factory owners and their families during the summer to get away from the hot city of Troy. And so they didn't build all those houses, but they changed them. They called it the Colonial Revival. They would have their bridge parties. the ladies' luncheon parties. One of Walter Berry's sisters ran a nursery school there.
Huh.
So it was sort of their retreat and their place to go. The two wings on the back, which probably are in the worst repair,
Right.
and they're two separate wings, but they butt each other. There's no insulation. And then there's a suite at the end.
Oh.
And right now, of course, it's privately owned. The
Right.
Berries have owned it since the
Right.
1890s.
Right.
One of the girls lives there, and the other one spends a lot of time with her. So,
I know a lot of people are there taking photos of the old First Church, but they turn right around and they can't wait to take pictures of the
know.
Walloomsac
well, I
Inn, too.
remember when I was in college, they used it for photo shoots, photo magazine.
Oh, that doesn't
Mademoiselle
surprise
used
me.
to do a college edition every fall of the proper clothes to wear, and they would do. They had Bennington College girls at one point,
Right,
and
right.
they did photo shoots up there.
Do you collect stuff like that, magazines that, or
I did.
did you? You had to stop.
You know, you have to stop it.
Yes, at some
I've
point.
moved now 2 or 3 times, so
yeah.
I keep getting
Right.
rid of stuff.
Right. Okay, well, we'll get back to the monument, but I just
Okay.
say that you said Walloomsac, and I thought, oh, tell me a little bit about the Walloomsac Inn. So that's Easter weekend.
That's
what
Easter weekend.
yeah.
Okay, the next thing we have May 11th, book signing. Mark Anderson is the author of a book called Battle for the 14th Colony. And this is the battle that took place. It's almost as obscure as the Battle of Bennington is to some people. Under Benedict Arnold for Quebec. Remember during the 7-Year War, or what we call the French and Indian War, the British took over Quebec. The Continental Congress, once they had done the Declaration, knowing that they were probably going to have to fight a war, were interested in they thought maybe Canada would come in as part of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to convince them because they felt that the Canadians, majority of the residents in Quebec were French, and they were Roman Catholic, and that they would prefer to be with the newer colonies who were more tolerant. So they tried to convince the Quebecians to join the Continental Congress. They were not successful, but that's basically what this book
What
is
the
about.
book is about. Now, is he a local, is he a Vermont author, or
no,
do you know
he's
anything?
not.
No?
He's a retired U.S. Air Force officer.
Oh, has he written other books, or?
Yes, he's written some other books on battle and
Oh, okay.
military history, let's call it that way.
Oh, okay.
And so he's coming down to sign the books, and I haven't read it yet. It should be interesting,
Yeah.
because it
Oh,
is
I'm
sort
sure.
of a little...
And the book, you have the signing, and then you probably had the book there at the Bennington,
Yes.
at the Monument
Monument.
Bookshop for a while.
Right,
or
and it'll
during
be
the
at
year.
1 o'clock. These will all
This is
sign.
at 1 o'clock, okay.
And then June 7th, we have the American Lung Association, and this is their 3rd year of running the Climb for Life.
Okay.
And they will go up the monument. And that's, anybody can join. There's a donation. I don't know, it costs maybe $100 or more by the time you get the donations.
Right.
And teams. The firemen usually are the last one. They go in full regalia.
Wow.
I know. There was a woman 2 years ago from Baltimore, Maryland. She was a professional firefighter, and she wasn't any taller than I am. If she weighed 110 pounds, it was a miracle. And with all of that gear and everything else, she went chugging up and had most of the men who were
Oh,
there.
jeez. Well, good for her. Good
Yeah.
for her. Wow.
So that
Amazing.
we'll have forms at the monument for people to fill out. It'll be online, and they can also register at 8:30 that morning. And then, let's see, June 14th, as I say, we will be doing the history of the flags, because that's Flag Day, which
right.
people don't remember very often. And Betsy Ross will be
Right.
there.
Yes, Phyllis Chapman.
Yeah. And there'll be activities with the children. There'll be designing flags and doing all of that sort of thing.
They're going to be designing their own flags, or you
I
know,
believe so. That's
what-
what we used to do that at the museum.
I think that's a
It
great.
was-
Yeah. What
was-
would your flag look like if
look
you were
like
going to
if you're
design a
doing it.
flag for
Yeah.
yourself? Oh, that's great. I
And
like
you
that.
talk about, you know, the various things that go into making a flag
Yeah.
and why.
Right. Oh, yeah. Huh.
And then, let's see, there's June 22nd, which is the longest day of the year.
And what will you be doing then?
And we are doing yoga.
Yoga.
Yes. It is Karma Cat Yoga.
Uh-huh.
Will welcome the summer season with their third annual Salutation to the Sun on the lawn.
Do they always do it on the lawn at the monument?
They've done it, this is, I think, the third year.
Oh,
that they've
God.
done it.
How did I miss this?
Yeah,
Son
and
of a
then there will be, we'll run the elevator and have the monument open for anybody that we a regular child
Right.
that wants to go up and maybe see the sunset.
Right. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
Well, do they have a big turnout? A lot of people come up and do
quite a
yoga?
few people.
Oh,
Quite a
that's
few people.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Oh, that's very fun. I wonder if Leah Newman will be up there. I know Leah does her yoga.
yeah, she
I
does
know
have-
she's yoga. I know.
Yeah,
For all I
she
know,
does.
maybe you do yoga. Or
No, I can't get up those
do you
stairs.
do meditation? No, I can't meditate. I've
I
talked
can't
about
either.
this with other people. My mind just goes
Oh,
flying other
no,
places.
Yeah, I'm
Can't
all
do
over
it.
the place.
Yeah.
I can't.
I wish I could.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's June 22nd. you
that's
said.
June 22nd,
Okay.
and it's also a national holiday because that's my birthday.
Oh, well, okay. It should be a national holiday.
Yes, it should be.
Yeah, yeah.
It's also Lisa Byers' birthday.
Oh, that's Lisa's birthday too. Oh,
Yeah, we're
Lisa was the
we-
executive director here at Cat TV.
Yeah, she's never found anybody, and I never found anybody who had the same birthdays.
Oh,
So,
she's a firecracker, isn't she?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, July 4th, we have Mr. Jones.
You do the Declaration of Independence. Yes, I come up. I've been doing it for quite a few years. We're not really sure. Last year, Mary Lou had said she thought it was 15 years. I don't know. I just haven't. You know, and I can't remember. I guess Mary Lou called me and just asked me if I would do it. And I thought, oh, God, I don't know if I want to get up there to read the Declaration of Independence. And she said, well, I know you've got that costume. And I thought, oh, well, yeah, I do have the costume. Although every year now, you know, it's getting harder and harder. You know, do you remember a couple years ago, that button went flying. I almost hit somebody. I'm telling you, if I don't lose some weight before July 4th this year, I don't even know if I can
Give
get into it.
to Phyllis Chapman. She'll
Oh,
put
yeah.
a piece in the back.
Oh, maybe I should do that. But I'm telling you, it's getting harder and harder to wear it. Actually, this little character I
just
have
gonna
here, yeah, this
grab
little
it.
the little bell ringer here. This just reminds me. I don't have a red vest, but that little belly, that big belly there, reminds me of what I look like. And I really enjoy doing it on the 4th. One of the reasons I enjoy doing it is because sometimes you get some British folk out there. I mean, it started off as a very small thing, and some years there's a lot of people out there under the tree, sitting on the ground or in chairs or benches or whatever. And sometimes you get these British people, and they like to heckle a little bit, and you just try to ignore them. But it is a lot of fun to do. Although I remember one year there was all those little nasty little black things,
Oh,
and they were going into my mouth, and I thought. And then the year that the gentleman who passed away not too long ago, flying
okay.
over.
Oh, yes, I know what you mean. With the airplane.
Yeah, he was flying over, so I had to speak a little louder. But it's a fun thing to do. And I know one year there was a couple. We were all done, and I saw this older couple walking across the lawn, and I don't know if you were still around at that point, but they were coming across, and they came over, and they said, did we miss it? And I said, oh, yeah, we just finished. And I felt so bad. I had them sit down on the bench, and I read it again.
Good for
And I
you.
thought, oh, my God, I can't believe I'm going to put myself through this again. But Anne said to me before, and it can't be the easiest thing to read, but, you know, every year it just seemed to get easier and easier to do. But it is. It's you know, it's become a little tradition, and, you know,
Very
it's
much
nice
so.
to be a part of that tradition. But there's a lot of other stuff going on that day, too. I mean, you do have the games out again for the kids.
Yes, there are games.
Sometimes there's lemonade, sometimes
Sometimes
there's
there's
strawberry
strawberry
shortcake.
That depends upon the friends and
Right, okay.
how many are going to be around.
Okay, there used to be this wonderful man that would sit there selling apples and postcards
Oh,
outside.
yes, he passed away.
Did he pass away? I can't remember. What was his name? I know he was at River's Edge when my mom
Right,
was there.
he was.
I want to say Rod. No, it's not Rod.
It's-
I don't know. Well, that's all right. But he was a wonderful. He was. I would see him walking up there not every day. I guess he was only there a few days a week or something. But
Yeah, he'd
he
walk
was.
up from River's
He was really a part of the monument. So. Yeah, his name will come to me too.
It'll
I
come
don't
to
know. But he was a very nice man. I know at River's Edge, he was very, ladies, it's time for supper. He'd try to get everybody into that dining room.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He was quite a character.
Yeah, he had an interesting life. He was a product of another time. He grew up in Brandon when it was the home for, what did they call it? It was like a trade school.
Yeah. Brandon, well, maybe it was trained. No, I can't remember,
Yeah,
but I know what
but-
you're talking about. Yeah.
You know, to teach people survival skills really on their own.
Right. That's what in the schools now they call it life skills classes or something.
Yeah, but this was, they would take people like him.
Yeah. He was a wonderful
He
old
was.
guy. So.
Roland.
Roland, that's it. Thank you. Let's see. So now July 4th, is anything else? Oh, and of course, the people will be able to go up to the monument.
Yep.
Now, what is it's so cheap, the cost of going
Well,
up to the
we've had to
monument?
raise it this year.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's not that much.
It's $5 for adults.
That's all right.
And it's still $1 for children between the ages of 6 and 18.
Okay.
No, 15. See, I told you, I go dormant in the winter.
Oh, well,
all that
listen.
information goes right out of my head.
I think we all do. We all have a tendency to do that.
And then children under 6 are free.
Okay. And the monument would be, the monument bookshop,
Yeah.
not the gift shop will
The
be
gift shop.
open.
You come in there to buy your tickets.
Right.
And yes, there is an elevator. That's the other most asked question.
Right. Well, before we go back and talk about the gift shop, so what are the other events coming up this
we
summer?
have, well, we're
fall?
talking about doing the dinner at the top or something
Oh.
like that again.
That's great. Yeah.
We haven't really firmed anything up, but
Right.
it's there.
Yeah.
And then Battle Day, of course, we have the race, the 5K race,
Right.
and then the kids' fun race, and the Living History Encampment, and that's General David Mernier, who is from Southampton, Mass.
Okay.
And they will come, and they can't do a reenactment. However, there is a very high possibility, that there will be a reenactment in Hoosick,
Oh.
whether it's on the battlefield or Scarecrow Farm near it. But they're working on it. They really want to be able to have a reenactment,
Oh,
which will
great.
be terrific.
Right.
And we're trying to work more with the battlefield because it's,
That makes sense.
I mean, it's, a lot of people come because they see it. They want to know what it is. They see it from the highway. They'll see it from the new visitor center. It's so
You can't miss it.
You can't miss it. And so, what is this? But then there's a lot of people who are military historians who come up, who do the whole thing.
Right.
They do the Bennington Battle Monument, the battlefield, Ticonderoga, Mount Independence, Mount
Right.
Defiance, Chimney Point, Hubbardston.
People really into history.
And
yeah.
they really are into it.
You know, somebody told me once, and I don't know, maybe I don't think I was dreaming this, that Lucille Crosscup used to take pictures of the monument at all different times of the day. Do you know anything about Lucille Crosscup doing that? She was a music teacher here in
Right,
Bennington.
she could have, because we do have pictures of it various times of the
Yeah.
day.
I don't know.
and
Somebody told me that
season.
she used to go at all different times of the day, during the morning, the afternoon, evening, whatever, to take photos of it.
Yeah, because it changes.
Right.
It's
It
really
does. It's
fascinating.
amazing as you're driving by at different times of the day. It really is. And there was all that commotion about the lights. That's calmed down now,
That
and
is
people
calmed
are
down
okay with the
completely.
lights? Okay.
People don't say anything about it.
Okay. Well, it looks very nice when it's lit up.
Well, it does, and you get close to it, and you see the stones and
Right.
the light on the stones.
Right. No,
and
it's wonderful.
It's just
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And then you continue into the fall, I know.
We go to
more.
the 31st of October,
You don't have any other events after Battle Day?
No, Battle Day is
That's about
probably
it?
the culmination of everything we do.
Okay.
But then, the fall foliage is just its own.
Right, right. And you said that
Gorgeous.
is the busiest season.
That is
Now,
the busiest.
about how many buses and during the weekend might show up there?
Oh, we don't have as many as we used to,
No, that's too bad.
but it's usually at the end of the week because
Okay.
they've come and they've done the northern part of the state. And
Oh,
they're
okay,
coming
work their way
to
down,
the-
okay.
And we could have 3 or 4 come in at the same time.
Well, that's, that's a little busy for the gift shop.
Yeah, oh yeah, because the gift shop isn't that big. But there's been, they run about 6 or 7, 8 baby buses.
Mm.
There used to be many, many more.
Does Mary Lou or you or whoever go in search of, do you send out information and we welcome bus tours and different things like that? Or?
That's all part of the publicity that comes out of the state,
Oh, okay,
the Department of Tourism and that sort of
right.
thing. And oftentimes we'll have drive-by buses that will come in and just drive
yeah,
around
yeah,
it.
Sure,
And
sure,
waiting maybe for the museum to open.
right.
But the bus tours, the people are usually very interested, fascinating.
Right. It's it is an amazing structure. It really is.
It
As
is.
You're so right when you say you look at this monument and at different times of the day it just takes on complete, and the weather can change it so much too. I mean, some days it's just as light and bright as can be. Other days it just looks like it's looming there as this dark. I don't know. It's an amazing structure, and of course there's always jokes about it too. People all make their little jokes about
Oh,
it.
yes, yes.
We won't go into that, but now the gift shop. How long has the gift shop been part of going to the monument?
Well, certainly since Mary Lou was there, if not before
so
that.
that was there. So
They
you
have
said she's been about there
expanded it,
18
yeah.
years.
At least 20 years.
Uh,
Of course, at the very beginning, they've always charged.
right.
And in the very beginning, you had the key. It was called the key house. And for 10 cents, you get the key and you go over and you unlock the door and you can go up and down and
Oh, okay.
come back home. But now, of course, you have to come in.
Right.
And most of the stuff we have is connected in some way with the Revolution.
Right.
Very conscious of having stuff for children,
Right.
especially associated with the Revolutionary
Right.
War.
You got flags and
We have
pens and
flags and,
pencils,
yeah.
probably keychains.
Keychains.
Do you have little license plate things?
coloring
or
books.
Coloring books?
Yeah.
And books. I know you have books there too
then
for
we
kids
do have
and adults.
Good books for adults and children, tour books and hiking books.
Right. And you can get flags.
Yeah.
You can get Vermont flag and
Yeah, the
different
Green
flags you'll
Mountain
have.
Boys flag, which was Herrick's flag in the Battle of Bennington, and he gave it to John Stark. We have the early flags, the Grand Union flag, and of the United States of the colonies, the colonist flag.
And get maps.
Maps, maps of the Revolutionary War, of the battlefields. In fact, we have a big one over in the monument on the wall, and people come in to buy the smaller version of that. And that was done by one of our groundskeepers who got the smaller one enlarged and put on canvas so people could see it. Because after the Battle of Bennington, the war moved south. So it was, that was the important thing. One of the things that the Battle of Bennington did was to bring the French in on our side, which meant that we had more ammunition, we had a navy, because we didn't have a navy, or an official navy, and money, and troops. So then it also moved most of the battles down, when I say down south, Pennsylvania, the southern states, some of the southern states.
I told you, this woman is a font of information. I don't
But
know.
I can't remember what I go to the grocery store for.
Now, have you ever thought of doing any writing yourself? Are you a writer of any? Have you ever thought, oh, I know so much, I could put all this down into a book? No?
No, I have 2 daughters that are writers, but not me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, what do they
Well,
write?
one-
Fiction, nonfiction, poetry?
youngest one is, she's more or less a freelance journalist, and she writes feature articles for a couple of newspapers in Springfield.
Oh, okay.
And I think she's done some magazine articles and things.
Okay.
And the oldest one hasn't published anything yet, but she's a very good writer.
You know, you mentioned groundskeepers before. Who's responsible for taking care of the grounds? Because it always looks beautiful up there.
Well, combination. We have Francis Burdock and Don DeFacto, and those two are the groundskeepers, and they walk and they clean. And then to mow the lawn, the state hires the people involved in the restorative justice, the community service.
Yeah, okay.
And they are the ones that come up and mow the lawn.
Right.
But the painting and a lot of the stuff, especially Don, are doing it. We're a close-knit group, which is good.
Right.
I mean,
you also mentioned friends of the monument. Now,
yes.
How does someone, if they want to become a friend of the monument?
All you have to do is come into the shop and we'll give you a form. I think it's $10. And they do all sorts of programs and things. We had a presentation on the houses that were around the monument before it was built, that were taken.
Right, because there are a lot of,
Yeah, because that was the center of town.
Sure.
And there were newspaper offices. There was private homes. There was, of course, the State Arms Inn, which wasn't built to the end of the 1700s. It was very controversial, taking that down. And what they did, these people that, well, there were the Monument Association, the Bennington Historical Society, went to the legislature, and this was the time when the legislature was one body with a representative from every single town in Vermont. If you had 3 people and you were a town, you could go to the legislature. But they went to them and they asked them if they would give them permission to take the land by eminent domain. So that avoided any arguments. So the state of Vermont gave $10,000, and there were about 10 parcels of land that they took. And you think of that section being round because of the circle, but it's actually square.
Oh, I'd have to give that a closer
There's
look,
the little
I guess.
corners there, and the road belongs to Old Bennington.
Now, is the carriage barn, is that part of the monument or is that part of the Old First Church? That was involved with the church or?
Now, right now, it is. It's the Old First Church.
Right.
But originally, the shingled cottage, they call it, the big shingled house that's sort of down off Monument, off the circle, it just sets down. That belonged to Mary Sanford, whose family manufactured collars. Go around your collars.
Uncomfortable.
So, yeah. Well, those old celluloid collars.
Oh, yeah, I've had to wear them in place once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, are they itchy.
That was her summer house.
Oh.
And she had the carriage barn, which was her carriage barn, and then the little house next to it, the very first one on the left down Monument Avenue, was where her coachman lived.
Wow. Boy, I don't know. I'm telling you, you're just so full of information. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it at all. I mean, I can't think of anything. Well, I know a lot about, I guess, old movies and stuff like that, but I can't think of anything where I am just full of information that I could give to people like this. I mean,
there's lots of stuff I don't know.
Now, do you find yourself writing down a lot of it, or is this something that you can just hold on into? I mean, I know you said sometimes you go a little dormant, but during the winter and stuff. But is this just flying around in your head all the time?
Yeah, it comes back. Maybe all my years of teaching. But,
did you teach in a classroom?
I taught in the classroom.
Oh, where did you? I'm sorry, I was pointing, but I didn't know you were taught.
Oh, yeah, but I was involved in the independent school world.
Oh, okay.
And I taught in classrooms, and then I became in the administration. But you know, when you're teaching,
I was just a lowly teacher. That's all I was.
Yeah, well, I think that's where my white hair came from.
Oh, what did you teach?
I taught English.
Oh. Okay, that doesn't
Even
surprise
though
me.
I was in well, my day it was called American Studies. Or that was my background at Bennington. I couldn't get a job as a history teacher.
Oh,
It seemed all the coaches taught
yeah, it's
history.
probably a little hard now to find. I know,
Yeah.
do they even, how much history and geography do they teach now? I don't even know.
I don't know either, no.
It seemed to be going down lower and lower all the time.
No, social studies. I don't know what they do. but
How long
that's
did you teach?
30 years.
Oh, well, I only got to 29. You beat me by a year. Wow.
1 year.
And it was always English.
It was always English.
Was it high school?
Well,
maybe?
then I did English as a second language.
Oh, wow.
I taught for a while at Hoosac School. I had some bumps in the road in my life, and I ended up there, which taught me how to teach. I had taught at Andover, Phillips Andover, before that in Andover, Massachusetts. And those kids are bright and self-motivated. The kids at Hoosac are bright, but they're different learners.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I had to find ways to teach.
Right.
And it really taught me how to teach. It
Right.
was the best experience. But I ended up with the English as a second language class. And I used to pile them in the school van and take them around to the various sites.
Of course.
And
That doesn't
try to
surprise me.
explain American history
Right,
to
right.
Koreans and Japanese and Germans. And of course, the other kids would all laugh, and they referred to it as barnyard history.
Barnyard. You know, I went to Castleton State College, and I never, until I got into a classroom, I never understood what teaching really was. Once you get in there, my first class was 32 kids, and that's when you get the learning experience for teaching.
you
I'm
do.
telling you. I enjoyed Castleton State College. I learned a lot there, but until you get into that classroom, you just
you
have
just
no
don't.
idea what
You
it's
have
going to
no
be
idea.
like. No idea at all. Well, I know we're getting close to the end here, and we have talked a little bit about the
Yeah.
monument and the schedule for this year. Would you remind us before we close up here of the hours?
We are open at 9 o'clock, and we close at 5.
7 days a week?
7 days a week.
Wow. And how many friends are there? I mean, you must have a lot of people to take care of the
Well, we
cover the
do
bookshop.
have. I
or
mean,
the
we
gift shop.
just did a program, well, as I say, on the houses. They sponsor the dinner. They have sponsored the dinner at the top. They raise money to do various things. We're trying to get some sort of a video that will explain the battle
Oh, okay.
to make it easier for people. So that we're working on that. That's
Oh,
our
good.
big project
Oh, good.
right now. So.
Well, again, I don't know if Ann realized that we were going to be talking so much about you today, but the name of my show is Your Friends and Neighbors, and the purpose of this show is to get to know people that we see around Bennington so much, and I just thank you so much. When I called Mary Lou, and she said, I can't do it, I have a meeting, but I'll get my second in command to come. And I thought, oh, good, I've always wanted to sit down and chat, and you and chatted about fried oysters. So.
That's right.
So I want to thank you so much for
Well,
being here.
thank you.
And every show I end with a quote.
Okay.
And my quote today, believe it or not, is from Marilyn Monroe. She just had a lot of good quotes. And this quote is, a career is wonderful, but you can't curl up with it on a cold night.
Very
So
good.
I like that a lot. So again, I want to thank Ann Bugby for being here today, and we will see you around, I'm sure.
Oh.
I'll see you up at the monument, definitely on the 4th.
Definitely
So-
on the 4th. I'll
All
be
right.
there.
Okay, well, so thank you so much. And everybody, this has been Your Friends and Neighbors. I am your host, Willie Jones, and join us again next time, and we will have another interesting guest or two with us. So thank you very much. Ta-ta.
I take a long look around, I have to say, this time of year, it becomes clear, those you hold dear, you draw them near, this time of day,